So the recently installed Valvetronic exhausts wasn't working because there wasn't a battery in the remote. We have now fixed that and we've got a battery in the remote. So let's fire up the car and see what we think. Right, now engage the Valvetronic. Right, now rev it. Turn it. Now press the button. That's very loud. Engage quiet button. Right, so if we go here, right, so there's the Valvetronic, well one of them anyway. So if I press the button, you can see the actuator. So down is on, rev it. And then press the button again. Now rev it again. Lovely. So now we're going to do a real world drive-by test. So here's a close-up of the remote, and at the top there's a button, and at the bottom there's a button, but it's covered underneath one rubber. So the top one is to shut the valves, and the bottom one is to open the valves. The open valves are really loud, and it's good fun to use. So the control box sits in the engine bay at the rear, and it runs off a 12-volt supply, which well, I couldn't find a 12-volt supply within the engine bay, so I run it around the back of the engine away from any heat sources, underneath the trays, all the way to the front, and then up into the where the battery is, and then put an inline fuse in there. I put a 5-amp fuse. There's a link in the description to the inline fuse and the 5-amp that I've got. Then it just uses the power with the remote. It's got a little aerial to pick it up on, and that opens and closes the valves using, I think it's air pressure, pushing through some rubberized blue pipe that I've got to the valves on either side. Right, so there's the Valvetronic, well one of them anyway. So if I press the button, you can see the actuator. So down is on, rev it. And then press the button again. Now rev it again. And then down, rev it. Ah, lovely. So that's the aerial, and this is the pump, and then you have the air which goes through here into this T section, which then sends it down to this corner and that corner to the valves to open and shut them. And it fits quite nice and tidy just there in the engine bay. And a 12-volt supply goes round down there, and under the panels and then up into the frunk, which I'll show you. And I've come up here, across under here, through here, into where the battery is. Now I need to put an inline fuse here and some O-rings to connect it up, but it's just temporarily connected at the moment. The inline fuse will take a 5 amp fuse, as I've done some research and found it, but there was no paperwork with the Valvetronic exhaust. But I'll be putting the inline fuse, just need my crimping tool and stuff like that. Anyway, there we go. So this is the inline fuse, and it's a 5 amp. Keep that tucked down there, and then that should be able to, you know, turn on, you know, keep the Valvetronic pump safe from electrical faults. This is the isolation that I use. They're quite cheap, so power on, screw in, and then unscrew, power off. This is the wire going for the Valvetronic. Put them on crimpers. Should really have it pointing down, and then there's the inline fuse to keep it all nice and safe. But yeah, these are quite useful. But if you undo that and then shut your bonnet, you can't use the electronic release to pop the bonnet. You have to then take the wheel off. It really is annoying. So I'm thinking of maybe upgrading this to one on a remote. So you put one end on here, put the other end on there, connect to the positive and negative, and then that gives the unit power, and then you can use a remote to turn it on and off. So you can then isolate it and still shut the bonnet, because then you just turn it back on and you can open the bonnet. Lights on. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.